What's up? If you've been following me for a while, then I'm sure you've noticed the notes that I post daily above my profile picture, and I'm always telling you where the sun is and where the moon is every day. But let's start talking about what that means. So the sun represents the current season in terms of month to month versus the 3 month increments that we currently recognize are 4 base seasons. The Western or tropical zodiac breaks this down into 12 seasons. So it's not actually governed by where the sun or the planets are astronomically. It is an earth-based thing starting from the first day of spring and matching that with 0 degrees Aries. This works because as we have come to expect a certain amount of consistency in our 4 main seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter, we can also come to expect a certain, not complete, but a certain amount of consistency in the subsequent 12 seasons as we break this up through the 12 months of the year. And just as every 3-month season has a beginning, a middle, and an end, every 3 signs have a cardinal, which is the beginning, a fixed, which is the middle, and a mutable end or transitioning time that fulfill those 3 months of every season. And the expression and symbolism of each of these signs reflect exactly these themes that we are seeing coming out of each of these seasons on a monthly basis. I hope you're still following. So just to clarify, just for terminology's sake, we're gonna call the 4 main seasons the 4 main seasons, and then we're gonna call the 12 seasons the zodiacal seasons. So when we say the sun is in Virgo, that means we are in the current zodiacal season of Virgo. Virgo relates to organization. It is an earth sign. It is a mutable sign, meaning it's a changing sign. It's a shifting sign. It's an adapting sign. It's a transitional sign. We are in the last month, and as I make this post, the last week of summer. So this is very much a transitional time when we are starting to leave those hot months of summer and start transitioning into a more cooler season. This is also a very organizational time. Kids are going back to school. We're sort of doing like our fall cleaning in our homes. We're starting to prepare the home and hopefully our closets for the cooler months coming. And if you're gardening or farming, there's probably a lot of transitioning going on in your garden as well. Getting all of the summer harvest together and preparing for the winter crops. And during this season, weather-wise, we see a lot of ups and downs. We don't have constant hot temperatures, but we don't have constant cooler temperatures either. It seems like 1 week is really hot and then another week cools things down. 1 week is really dry, 1 week is really wet. We kind of see like all of the seasons come together at once as they like work to balance out to come into this new season again, right? Okay, so going forward, these posts are not going to be as much of this. They're going to be more focused on exactly what we want to talk about, but this is just giving you that briefing that you need as we move into this and I start making more of these posts. So then the sun, the symbolism of the sun relates to how we identify, and essentially all of those things that I just explained about Virgo, we are essentially identifying with because these are the themes that we're moving through during this month. And then we get to the moon. The moon moves through a zodiac sign about every 2.5 days. And it relates a lot to how we're kind of like feeling on a collective level. The moon is currently moving through the sign of Cancer. She just entered the sign of Cancer. Cancer is actually the home sign of the moon. In astrological terms, you might hear an astrologer say Cancer is ruled by the moon or governed by the moon. With that said, the moon is kind of like the figurehead, while the sign of Cancer is like the expression of that figurehead. And the same applies with all of the other planets and the sun. The sun and the moon are called luminaries. Now I'm starting to digress a little bit, so bear with me. We're moving on. But essentially, all of the planets will rule over or govern a sign, and that specifically relates to like the planet or the luminary, being the sun or the moon, is that figurehead, whereas the signs, the zodiac, are the expressions of those figureheads. Okay, are you still here? Thanks. Okay, so the sign of Cancer, it is a water sign. Water relates directly to our emotions. It is also a cardinal mode of energy. You can see previous videos if you want to hear me talk more about the different modes of energy. But essentially, cardinal is a reactionary energy. It is through strong actions or reactions that essentially trigger a domino effect to a domino effect that kind of determines the chain of events that are going to conspire after that initial action or reaction. These two signs together, Virgo and Cancer, form an aspect that we call a sextile aspect. So if we're looking at all 12 signs in a circle, in a wheel, Cancer and Virgo are 60 degrees apart. They are separated by the sign of Leo. This is a sextile aspect. Now, in astrology, a sextile aspect is considered a harmonious aspect, but it's not automatically harmonious. It takes a little nudging. It takes a little something to get them both on the same page. And considering these two signs, Virgo, who is very objective and practical, and then Cancer, who is very emotional and subjective, you can see why at first it might seem like these two don't get along. However, these two energy dynamics together essentially create the perfect atmosphere for allowing one to find a harmonious balance between the heart and the mind. So yeah, going forward, I will definitely elaborate more on the energy dynamics of the quality of time between the season of the sun and the moment of the moon. But it's been like 8 minutes, so if you're still with me, hey, thanks so much for all of your time and your patience, and I'll see you in a couple days when the moon moves into Leo. Have a good one.